All right. So for weekly review, I'm just going to go over the trades that I took and then each market in accordance to what I'm looking at and what I see the week did. So currently for NASDAQ, um, what I saw was NQ closing inside of this candle. Okay, so for this week, I was bearish to this low and possibly this low. Okay, so weekly gap and then this low. Now, if we were still bullish, this weekly gap was going to provide a move higher, and if we were bearish, we were going to go to here. Okay, but this was a guaranteed target for me. Let's go to NAS using the closure of this and the SMT. Let me draw out this line here. Okay, so I think any shorts over here were perfect. Admittedly, I wanted to short, but I fell asleep. But there is some good shorts right here. Candle into liquidity pool, turtle soup, 4-hour order block. I like this short a lot right here. Then we had a failure swing at, I believe, 8-9 a.m. Tuesday, and targeted the gap. Now I gave it one more shot off a daily order block. I think I used the body actually. I gave shorts one more shot off this daily order block because I saw all these relatively equal lows. Okay, obviously it didn't work out, but I got a partial at the low that took the high right here. Okay, so those are my two trades on NASDAQ this week. But seeing that we SMT'd inside on a 4-hour swing inside of a weekly FVG, and we displaced above, it's giving a reason to believe that NASDAQ wants to go to all-time highs and that this SMT will not hold. Okay, because ES did take this high, but it looks like we're going to go back to all-time highs on NQ. So this would be my target for the rest of the month. Because of how we're acting at this weekly gap. And this will be a guaranteed target right here for next week. Okay. So pretty simple trades, right? 4-hour order block, weekly open high on a Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday model. Okay. And then I wanted to see if Friday would give one last push to the lows, but we didn't. Okay. So that's my analysis on NQ. Any questions? Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. We ranged half the week, so there's not a ton of stuff to go over, right? And also another reason, yeah, I'm gonna go over all markets, Kieran. So I'll get Bitcoin here in a second. For Euro, Euro, we tapped into a monthly gap. I'm anticipating a monthly gap to monthly external, right? IRL Euro, okay? Within this monthly gap, right, I'm gonna show you guys how I break down my key levels. Monthly gap, right? How can I get a precise entry in this monthly gap? Well, number one, waiting for week 2 of the month, right? Because this week open high. Waiting for week 2. What's inside of this monthly gap? I have a daily intermediate term low, okay? And GU has SMT. All right, this week 2 and this week 2 and week manipulation, weekend monthly. Yeah, week 2 is usually manipulation, Devin. Week 1's usually a range and week 2 usually manipulates. That's kind of what you can frame monthly candle expansions on. Although week 1 can be higher low a month. It's really all dependent on what time the key levels are met. But it's a good rule of thumb to count week 1 as accumulation and see what week 2 does. Okay. As far as Euro, I have this daily liquidity pool marked out for week 2 to possibly sweep plus this SMT with GU and try to find an entry soup down here using this low for an expansion higher. Okay, so that's what I'll be looking for on Euro this week, and you guys will probably see my execution on it on Twitter. This one, Kieran, this low right here is below this monthly gap, number 1, below this weekly breaker, number 2, as well as this is the low that took this high, right? This is a range right here. You can see, right? Low, expand up, and we range inside of this. Okay. So I wouldn't want this low to be taken. As well as this is a soup on a low time frame right here. Okay. So I'll be looking at this low. GU. With this SMT, I'm going to be either looking for this daily OP to hold or possibly this rejection block if week 2 wants to sweep. Okay. I don't want to see this SMT broken. If it is broken, I still think it's worth a shot. But preferably, it's not broken. Okay. And it's, same with EU. GU, I expect higher. Monthly open low. Okay. Monthly SMT right now with EU. Okay. So that's what I'll be expecting. AU, same thing. AU, GU, EU all kind of move in tandem. I'm expecting, so I took shorts, right, on my Twitter if you guys saw. And actually, let me cover those shorts quick so I can show you guys all my trades. So I had the weekly candle marked out here. I noticed that we were in a constant uptrend, right? Market profile here is bullish, rejecting lows, breaking highs. Rejecting lows, breaking highs, right? What happens when this week opens? Okay. Right when this week opens, we start rejecting these highs, right? We're no longer pushing above them. And we start displacing through lows. You see that? Rejecting high. You see how market profile has changed here versus here. Okay. So I didn't take this because I wanted a confirmation of market profile change, right? And then once I see that market profile is changing and we start displacing and rejecting, I now look for a premium entry, right? So I have expansion leg through this low with a retracement into a liquidity pool inside of a gap in premium. Okay, so this is your OTE of this weekly range, right? High, expansion, OTE, expansion. Okay, and I was framing the weekly high to low based off the hourly market profile change once this week opened. Okay, you can notice we never displaced through any lows on this entire way up. Right, they're always rejected until here, and then this gives me bias that we're gonna have a retracement, which is why I shorted here. Okay, but same thing as EU, GU. Monthly we don't really have a gap, but weekly we do. So I'm expecting weekly gap to weekly external on this week. We will see. What I'm also watching, right? Breaking down key levels, weekly gap. We have what inside of it? We have an intermediate term low with a 4-hour order block below it, right? Which was also a turtle soup. So this could be a possible area that you could look for longs in. USD JPY. I'm expecting much higher on this. We swept the monthly low that took a high, so I'm expecting a big expansion, and I expect week 1 to be the low week or the low month on JPY. Okay, so again, looking for some sort of retracement into a daily plus key level and long. CAD, I'm expecting this 3 candle on the monthly to play out because on the monthly we're ultimately bullish, right? Rejecting lows, breaking highs. We have a fake market structure shift in a bullish market, right? We're fake going down in a bullish market. What happens every time that happens? It gets bought right back up, right? Every time that happens, bought right back up. Okay, so I'm expecting the same thing to happen right here. I want to see an expansion higher. Again, I want to see a daily key level or a weekly key level tapped. We just created this daily order block. So this looks like a very good swing, at least 1 to here, if not all the way higher. Okay. So it's currently that. Gold, I'm not really that interested in. It's kind of chopping. Bitcoin. So I stopped trading Bitcoin currently just because on the monthly chart we're not having any one-sided expansions. Okay. I still expect all-time highs to be taken, but that entirely depends on this gap, and we already took the low-hanging fruit. Okay. So it's kind of a no-touch zone for me right now. Although I do expect higher. I do want to see that this move does get ran through, maybe a week 2 soup. Maybe this rejects, we tap into this order block and go higher. But I'm risk off on Bitcoin currently because low hanging fruit was hit and we kind of rejected it. Okay, like on a daily we were failing to close above it. So I'm not going to put any risk on because I don't have a strong draw liquidity on Bitcoin anymore. Okay. Do you guys have any questions over anything I took? The bias. Waiting for after election. Yep. Election could definitely have a possible effect on crypto. So that's another thing to wait for. But I think that covers better. You guys got any questions over anything? Or just anything in general you want to ask while I'm here? Well, you got my time. All good? Love it. Good, perfect. Love to hear that. Let's see here. Well, sweet. I think that'll wrap it up. I think I covered just about everything. I hope you guys see how simple the analysis is on everything. You know, it's for going up, what key level is going to sponsor it, what day a week, what week a month. Tau Mexi Exchange. This one? Kieran. And yeah, Devin, I'll check that after this. Yeah, this should go all-time highs. 6 bullish. Soup failure swing. It might come down one more time. Take this low out. It's like a little range above a gap. But yeah, this definitely looks bullish. I believe you showed it to me down here, didn't you? Somewhere down here. Yeah. Looks like it's playing out pretty well, huh? That looks nice. Yes, sir. Making some money. I like it. Check DXY. DXY. I do want DXY to go lower. I'm expecting it to go lower on this week. Week 1 of this month was a very high open high candle into a monthly gap. Inside of this monthly gap, we have a daily order block. Okay. I want to see this daily order block hold for price to go lower here. So preferably we'd get something like this. Okay. If this starts to not be sensitive to price, I'll expect it to go up to here and tag the even higher weekly gap. Yep, bullish market structure shift in a bearish market, right? Is to be sold, right? Where is it going to be sold at? Key levels above these highs, right? This order block, if this isn't sensitive enough, it's going to go to this high, but I'm still expecting lower because on the high time frame we are bearish, right? And this is the monthly candle open high. Yeah, it is a KOD. We hit this rejection block and this external liquidity. So it's going to revert to some sort of internal liquidity, right? Weekly intermediate term high right here. Order block above the high. This honestly would be a pretty decent short. As long as it's being sensitive and it's not closing through this order block. You wouldn't want to see that if you were bearish. Okay. But I think that's about it. You guys got anything else? Georgia boy, I know you joined up late, but I got it on recording and I'll upload it to YouTube right after this. All good, sweet. All right, well, I'm gonna get this uploaded for you. You guys can check it out. I'll post it in announcements in probably 5-10 minutes, depending on how long it takes. And And yeah, thanks for joining up, guys. And I will catch you next week. All right. Peace out, guys.